That is always a classic intro. Hang on, I'll be right.
Is that really him, Zelensky?
Supposedly, like there was this video, something about when he was an actor, like before he actually became a politician. Yeah, here it is. He did comic skits. I mean, even Snopes is like, when they fact check this, they say it's true. So I mean, that's how you know it's 100% is legit if Snopes has to admit that it's real.
Because that looks very gay.
It was from when he was so he was like a comedian and an actor before he became the president.
Before he got installed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was I don't know, people seem to forget. There was like a big brouhaha because Trump had, well, remember the phone calls and everything, and like they were because Trump had called him after he won. And they were like, oh, Trump is trying to influence him and make him do this and that and the other and blah, 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 blah. And it was basically, when you actually like got the transcripts and listened to the audio of the actual conversation, it was basically Trump was like, yeah, you were kind of came out of left field like I did and won in a sort of impressive manner. And like, I think we have a lot in common. We could probably work together on some things. And that was really the long and short of it. There was no like quid pro quo or anything. There weren't any like handshake agreements or anything made on stuff. It was just a general conversation, but it got turned into this whole thing, and everybody hated Zelensky at first because they thought he was going to be like a Trump ally, and then they figured out that he's actually just a whoever pads his pockets ally, and that they can work with. So
yeah. I mean, they kind of assumed that it was going to be like a him, Trump, and Russia, Putin all working together, kind of like a trio kind of thing. They were like, that's kind of what the left kind of thought it was going to be like. Oh, Ukraine, Russia, and Trump are all we're just kind of working together. But like,
I don't think that at all. I think that they had him in their pocket, and they knew they had him in their pocket, and they didn't want Trump screwing that up.
Yeah, probably. That's probably why they attacked it so hard, because he was just he was literally just saying like, hey, we can be allies, I guess, like Justin was saying.
Yeah, I think they had him ready to go. The whole thing is set to go. They just had to get certain sickness out there and have Trump not win the next election.
Well, Zelensky
Are you drinking a beer this morning, Trey?
What?
Is that a beer you're drinking?
Nah.
Zelensky was more or less selected. They had the CIA had run a coup in Ukraine anyway. Like, Zelensky was the guy that had been picked. They had run a coup in Ukraine and got rid of a former leader, and then the guy that they put in, they didn't end up caring for as much. So Zelensky ended up getting all kinds of like, I think I may be wrong, but I'm pretty sure he got a significant amount of Soros backing for his campaign. Like, Zelensky was their guy.
The question is, where hasn't the CIA run a coup? I mean, there's only maybe one country.
I mean, South Africa, maybe.
One country, maybe. No, do you mean the one that's currently under attack? Maybe.
Yeah, that was the only one that they hadn't run a coup.
I would say, the CIA's not running any ops in Israel. Anything that's getting run through Israel is because Israel wants it to.
Who was the guy who got killed? Like, maybe it was like early 2000s. One of their leaders got shot and killed.
You got to narrow it down. If you're talking about Middle East, somebody gets shot and killed every other day.
Israel's prime minister.
I don't remember that happening.
Yeah, I think he might have been. That might have been the CIA one. I'll have to look that one up.
I'm not aware of that one. Did y'all see the videos of Hamas running through the streets, like ripping people out of their houses and stuff? and then the community notes on the video said these are Israeli military uniforms.
Yeah.
That's not Hamas doing that.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on with this. Initially, it was just like, how much of this is just completely an op? Like, it's all
a bait. Like
I mean, how do you lose? Okay, so for the establishment, for the like pro-war uniparty, to lose support for Ukraine, and then have the guy who was going to continue making backroom deals to support Ukraine ousted, all within a couple days span. And then 3 days later, now Hamas is attacking Israel, and you've got all of the "we're not funding foreign wars anymore" people suddenly turning on their head to fund foreign wars again.
Not all, but I mean, yeah, a good majority.
The ones who weren't on board with sending money to Ukraine, a lot of those still aren't on board with sending money to Israel. But a lot of them that were had been pro-Ukraine until it was no longer politically advantageous to be pro-Ukraine because the sentiment had turned. Those are the ones who are now flipping straight back to, all right, we got to support Israel. Israel's our ally, blah, 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 all this bullshit. Like,
yeah.
And the average Republican is too fucking stupid to understand that, like, once you realize that it's a game and the game is rigged, then you're ready to play the game. We are seeing the rigging. Like, they're not even these riggers aren't even trying to hide it anymore.
Even Kennedy came out saying that we need to do all the support and give Israel all the money and start wars again.
Yeah.
And he was the biggest anti-war one out there.
Yeah, it's amazing how
I mean, surprisingly, the one of the only two that I saw that were really still serious about it is like Matt Gay still said, "Hey, we don't need to send money, but you know we support." He did the "we support them" kind of thing, but he didn't say anything about sending foreign aid again.
Right, well, they can have some hopes and prayers.
Yeah,
I mean, if they hadn't crucified our Lord and Savior, maybe those prayers would go. But
well, it would probably help if they weren't like just last week, spitting on Christians in the street or whatever.
Oh, they didn't ever do that kind of stuff. What are you talking about? They love Christians.
Well, and I wonder where Hamas got all of these. Like, Hamas has been firing rockets here and there
and the dome blocks it, yeah,
for literally forever. So how is it that all of a sudden
the dome goes down?
The dome goes down, and they've got like 5,000 rockets that they're just ready to pop off. Like, when you have established patterns of the way things work and happen, and then all of a sudden the whole thing goes completely haywire and like it gets changed, that usually that's a sign that there's something fucky going on. And like,
games are being played.
The whole $6 billion to Iran thing that was what was it, humanitarian aid or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and that was one of those like Biden executive order type things. That wasn't I don't think that went through congressional approval.
Well, it wasn't that because Trump pulled the money that Obama gave to Iran. Wasn't that because of that?
Well, I mean, we weren't like necessarily aiding Iran before, but we were like overseeing their nuclear weapons program.
No, but it wasn't even that. That was the money that Obama returned from like the 70s or 80s that we had taken from Iran.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I'll have to look that one up too.
Yeah, I just remember during the Obama years, we had established an actual program to survey like the nuclear weapons program for Iran, because we wanted to make sure that they weren't using it for nefarious purposes or whatever.
They're not. They're not going to. They're not going to build nuclear weapons.
I mean, I don't think they're going to use them, even if they did build them. Like it is a like.
And who gives the U.S. the right to tell everybody else what they can and can't do in their countries? I mean, that's just.
Well, and like for Iran, what they don't have delivery system. Like
yeah, like they would have to basically just like.
And what are they going to do? Fire a nuke that crosses entirely over all of the continental or all of the all of Europe to try to hit New York or something? Like we're not going to shoot that down somewhere over the it's just everything about it is so insane. Like let them.
They're going to bring the look. They're going to have the paragliders, and they're just going to
let them push their own nuclear weapons program as fast as they can. Go Operation Warp Speed on that thing and blow yourselves up and glass your piece of the desert, and then we all move on. Like, why are we? If we don't have people who are overseeing this program and making sure that it's functional, like, do you really think? I mean, these folks haven't even mastered automobiles yet. Did you see the Taliban after we left Afghanistan trying to like operate all of the equipment and stuff? Like, I mean, we're talking like they're a good 120 years behind technologically. Like, let them try. And when they blow themselves up in the process, then we move on with life. I don't understand why. This is like the real world application of take the warning labels off and let the problem sort itself out. Like,
yeah, but the whole reason Iran is in the position that they're in today is because of the CIA in the 60s.
Again, if we stop our CIA from doing everything for them and funding them and helping them, then let them blow themselves up.
Yeah, but they're the ones that overturned the government, and because they overturned the government, they were pissed, and then the mullahs came and took over because they were pissed. Had we not overturned the government 2 or 3 different times, none of this shit would have happened. We wouldn't be in this position.
We have to meddle. Like that's the point of it is we have to be meddling at some point. The
CIA must be run by white women.
They got to be in everybody's business, yeah.
Speaking of white, not quite women, Miss Universe Portugal is apparently one of those special. Miss Portugal Universo! It's just a joke at this point, right? Like every single once you understand that the game is rigged, now you're ready to play the game. If you're a guy, go try for Miss Universe. Like, in whatever country you're living in, just go be Miss Universe. Go win. Or I guess it could be worse. I mean, at least we're not. What was the African country where the white woman won? Like all 100% black women are in this competition, aside from the one white woman, and the white woman won. Where was that?
I don't remember.
The white woman ruined everything again, man. Did you guys see that there was I forget where it was. I want to say it was somewhere in the European country. They had a category just for trans. It was like a race, and they actually canceled it because there was like nobody signed up for it. So they put a category.
Yeah, because they don't want to identify as the other. Like if they're a dude that wants to be a chick, they want to identify as a chick. Like they want to identify as female.
I just think that they just want to mess with it. It has nothing to do with identifying. It has everything to do with messing with the other sport or the other people in the sport.
I mean, in some cases, yes. I think in other cases, no. I think there are some that they believe they've twisted, their brain is messed up enough that they believe like, okay, I am a woman or whatever. Then the rest of them are like, I suck as a dude, so I'm gonna dominate the women's side of things.
Right, and if you have to compete against other trans women, then that just means you have to compete against a bunch of other dudes, and then you're right back to on an equal playing field that you've already established that you can't be competitive in. So, why would you? Although I guess this is one of those things where it's always going to be an equal playing field. I still haven't figured out how this works. Trans lesbians are lesbians, so. Let me take a deep breath and try to process this. Does that mean, and y'all correct me if I'm wrong, that it's a dude who is now a trans woman who is also with another dude that is a trans woman?
No.
Now they're lesbians.
No. You can have
the
a
first
regular
part, but not the second part.
Yeah, you can have a regular woman and then.
So it's not two gay dudes who identify as women.
Yeah, no. I mean, it could be, I guess, in their sense of it, but no, that's not what they're talking about.
So you're a
it's
man.
A dude and a chick, but the dude dresses up like a woman.
So I'm a lesbian.
If you just dress up like a chick, yeah.
Do I have to dress up though? Like, why do I have to conform to your beauty standards? Why can't I?
True.
Why can't I be beautiful like I am? I'm a trans lesbian.
True. So Rush Limbaugh used to do this bit. He would say he's a lesbian trapped in a man's body.
Yeah,
he did this bit for years, and it was hilarious. He every once in a while he would come out and say, "I'm a lesbian trapped in a man's body." It absolutely hilarious.
It's
coming to
totally acceptable, like to the UN. You know, they say, you know, that's completely valid. You know, so yeah, we can be lesbians.
Just mental illness.
Speaking of mental illness, I don't know if you got, you know, I guess at some point we're gonna have to talk about the current thing, but I thought it was crazy. To me, the funniest thing has been the kind of like reaction that the woke left has kind of had to the whole event, because they've had the like wrong reaction that like some of them have had they've had differing reactions, and it's funny to see them go after each other. So like here is an example of just that. Apparently Harvard, there was Harvard students, they were making a statement. There's like a Harvard student body, I guess, group that's talking about, we hold the Israeli regime entirely responsible for all unfolding violence. And there's, I think this is I don't know if this is a teacher or something, but or like a former Harvard grad. Let's see. I think it's like a Harvard grad. She must be Israeli, but like talking about Palestine. So like the woke left is like, part of them are Jewish, and then part of them are just like, because they believe the Palestine thing, like they're just going along with like, oh yeah, completely Israel provoked this, and but then there's half of them that are like Jewish or whatever. So it's like crazy how they're going against each other.
Yeah, it puts them in a pickle there, because the left has always been pro-Palestine, and now they have to be pro-Israel.
Yeah. Just
like they weren't pro-war 15 years ago, or pro-business or pro-corporation, now they all have to be.
Yeah.
Well, was it Tommy or LB that said, somebody in our circles said over the weekend, they view this as the like the hard reset. Like this event can get us back to, now the left gets to be anti-war and the right gets to be pro-war again, and like all, because that's all you need is a little bit of conflict in the Middle East, and then you can get all of the the left back on board with we shouldn't be in the Middle East, and then the right's on, we need to be regime changing and funding or trying to go claim oil or whatever. You got to
But I
go
feel like
after Iran
if it's Israel, there's a lot of leftists that are Jewish, which is in some ways ironic. But like
look at most of the shadow government we have.
Well, there's been a bunch of different like things that have come out where either mayors or celebrities or congressmen or something have like put out posts in support of Israel and then get like massive backlash and have deleted the posts. Like,
or vice versa. I've seen both sides.
I haven't seen the other way, but
yeah, the only ones I've seen like AOC said something about supporting Palestine or something like that, and like the right came after her, but not the people you expect come after her. But like when some of them put out the pro-Israel stuff, like they're getting attacked by the left and by others who you wouldn't expect to be anti-war, especially given the past year plus with everything that's going on with Ukraine. It's like, wait, if you're all for funding foreign wars, then we have to take care of our neighbors, then why aren't you on board with this? Or it
yeah, I mean,
make it make sense. I can't.
Is this the transgender or is this the other one?
No, that's Bruce.
No, not Bruce. Don't they have another one that's trans too?
Not that I'm aware.
Oh, okay. I thought they did.
But yeah, this is the daughter.
You're thinking of Khloe Kardashian. She just looks real manly. She's not trans.
Yeah.
Okay. I remember Tim Pool talking about this one that she's mom was talking about. Anyways,
she's like this is the one that's like the big model who's got like the most Instagram followers ever or whatever. And so she's a big influence. So it's funny to see that like she posted the Israeli flag and all of a sudden immediately got backlash. People saying like, "Oh, Palestine's been and everything." So I mean, it's interesting that they've been put in a bind because of their audience, and they delete it, and then I don't know how they're gonna. Are they just gonna say well, screw you, pro this, or are they just gonna take a neutral stance? Like it's so weird that this is the thing that screws them over more than anything else. Like all the other craziness that they support.
Has there been any Republican that's come out against Israel?
Not against, but I mean, there's been several that have said like we support them, but like let's not fund more wars, I guess. But like JD Vance, he had a good post about it.
Yeah, there have been ones who have taken at least okay stances on it. I don't think anybody nobody's going to come. Nobody's going to just outwardly be like anti-Israel on this. They're gonna toe the line because I mean at the end of the day, everybody knows who controls the money, right?
Yeah, but
you almost got to be stupid to shoot yourself in the foot that like that deliberately to come out and be like, yeah, the Jews got what was coming to them like that. Then look what they did to Kanye. You think You think they won't do that to politicians who actually are reliant on them to support them?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of what it seems like the Republicans that are coming out against this are saying like, hey, this is money that went to Iran that is being used to now kill innocent people, and that's like this has stopped. Like they can defend
which
themselves.
Is bullshit. I mean, the whole thing's bullshit. There's no proof of that the money going to Iran is causing this.
Well, I mean, we send them money.
It's the
they do
DAA
this.
versus the CAA is what it really is.
I feel like, you know, it's at some points it's like isn't it? You know, I don't know. But I mean, if you send them money and they use it for nefarious purposes, I mean, what did you expect? I mean,
I don't know. I mean, all the money that
Iran has been funding Hamas for years. It's not like so there's no direct connection between the $6 billion that went to Iran and the things and Hamas getting all of this additional weapons and stuff like that. But I mean, Iran has been pretty publicly funding Hamas for a number of years, so it's a logical progression type of thing. Like you know, where there's smoke, there is likely fire. If Iran has been for a decade funding Hamas, then it's a probable. There's a high probability that some of that money that we sent to Iran ended up with Hamas.
Yeah, but there's also a probability that the weapons that we left over in Afghanistan are being used there too. I mean, or sold and used.
Yeah, that was brought up as well. Like the fact that Afghanistan may have sold, like the Taliban may have sold those weapons to Iran for actually using them in this war. Which I don't put that past them. I mean, look, that would have made them a lot of money probably in that sale, and it probably helped them. But I don't. Like, I feel like a lot of this is still fog of war. We're not going to know what really happened probably until like a year or two out. I mean, we're still not sure what's going on like exactly in the Ukraine-Russia thing, even though like, you know,
wouldn't it be hilarious if Israel launched the weapons on themselves? It just
well. It would be hilarious. I think they're more into aiding and funding launching like airplanes into buildings and stuff in other countries. Not so much on
not on themselves.
They're not real big on the Harry Carey thing.
Yeah, this is true.
Oh gosh, I think somebody unfriended me on Facebook. I said that, you know, if you weren't in support of sending money and military aid to Ukraine, then you also shouldn't be in support of sending money and military aid to Israel. And I had somebody that said Israel's our ally. I said no, they are not. They were one of the main players in making sure that 9/11 happened. And like this isn't even conspiracy theory anymore. Like there's legitimate, verifiable background that the guys who were piloting the planes were here on student visas and were sponsored by the Israeli fucking government.
Did you watch or listen to that series that Tommy did with Fitzgerald? Is it Adam Fitzgerald?
Yeah, I know who you're talking
That was a great series on 9/11.
I've heard
all that stuff down.
Yeah, I've heard Adam break it down on. It was on another show, but yeah,
you need to listen to the series he did with Tommy. It's great. I mean, there's probably 10, 12 episodes, and it goes in depth, really in depth. Yeah, I mean, it breaks all that stuff down, and he doesn't accuse any side. He just tells the facts, and leaves the breaking it down to you. But it was really well done. It was a great series. What is his show? Year Zero.
Yep. We got anything else today? I mean, that's been the big thing over the weekend. I don't know that there was.
I still don't even know what happened. I don't watch news anymore, so all I know is some rockets got launched into Israel. Did they actually blew something up, or?
Well, no, there was ground troops too. They were paragliding in. there was like the funny videos of them, and it looks like they're.
Do you think this is like twofold? So they like let the whole dome get breached and everything. Right, a few days after you've got Biden and the Biden administration foregoing like 26 different federal laws and regulations in order to continue building the border wall in Texas, while at the same time Biden is saying that walls don't work. So they're funding the wall while saying that walls don't work and trying to fight the immigration problem. And then we get to see the one shining example of where walls work the best. All of a sudden it doesn't work. And now Biden can point to this and be like, see, I told you walls don't work. We should have reappropriated that funding for something else. We shouldn't be building the wall.
But he's already appropriated the funds, right? Or
yes, that was
that's the joke, I guess.
That was okay. So that was like the justification that came from Mayorkas and Biden, was that it was from a 2019 spending bill. The funds had already been allocated to the wall, and the way this bill works is, or it's the way the appropriations work on it is it's a spend it or lose it type of a thing, which makes no fucking sense anyway, right? Like they just, it's not like it's a wad of cash that's sitting there, and if it doesn't get used to spend,
they still have to
if they don't
print the
spend
money.
it right, if they don't spend it to build this wall, then they're just gonna like throw it in an incinerator or something. And even if they did, what does it fucking matter? They'll just print more. So like the whole use it or lose it idea behind this money, okay, like that's complete farce. And number two, then just don't spend it. Like if as an administration you have been so firmly in the camp of walls don't work and we won't build another foot of Trump's border wall, then just don't do it. Right? You don't have to spend, like there's nowhere in the bill that says if this isn't spent by X time, then you're gonna go to jail. And even if it did say that, they wouldn't put you in jail. There's no accountability. So just don't spend it. But no, they're not only spending it, but they're foregoing like 26 different state and federal regulations in order to do it. Like you're bypassing the law to spend the money. And the whole thing is he's trying to play both sides of the card, right? Because you've got the like psychotic leftists that are like, oh, we need to be open borders and just let everybody in. And then you've got the ones that are
the
actually
blue
like
mayors now dealing with it.
Now you've got the ones that are actually getting like overrun by all of these illegal immigrants, and they're like, holy shit, we got to do something about it.
And you got the fights in Chicago.
So you build the wall to appease those people, but you say that walls don't work and that you're only doing this because those darn Republicans put it in a spending bill, so we have to do it. Like it's their fault that we're doing it. So then you get to play both sides. It's so fucking stupid.
He's playing both sides, so he always comes out on top.
Well, I mean, that's what's happening in Ukraine and Israel and everywhere else too. Somebody's got a screaming kid in the background. I'm assuming Trey.
My kids are too old for that.
I mean, they still scream, Steve. I know my teenagers do for different reasons, but
yeah.
Not
that high pitch. Let's put it that way. They have a little bit more testosterone.
There you go. Yeah. So that's the same thing we're doing in Ukraine and in Israel is we're sending money to Ukraine to support Ukraine while we're still buying oil and everything else from Russia. And we claim we're doing all these sanctions, but really nothing's changed with our relationship with Russia by and large.
Okay, so that's what I don't understand.
We're sending all of this. We're going to send all this aid and everything to Israel while we're also at the same time leaving weapons. And I mean, no, we have never at any point stopped like funding terrorism in the Middle East. So we're playing both sides on everything. I'm gonna mute him while he
please. But I mean, like, how is Russia putting up with this? How is Russia selling us oil while funding a war against them? I that's what I don't understand. There can't be that much money involved unless it's all just a big game.
It's all a big game, Steve. That's the theme of today's show is.
I was hoping Russia would not play that game, but I guess they do.
Everybody plays the game. You play the game, or they take you out of the game. You get to take a limo ride through downtown Dallas, and like that's what happens if you don't want to play the game.
Okay. I really didn't think Russia was involved in the game.
See, the game is beneficial to Russia because now you've got the whole BRICS thing. There are a lot of different games being played within the game, right? Like you get the sanctions, and the sanctions don't actually accomplish anything, but it gives the perception that something is being accomplished. And so then it pushes others into each other's camp where now they can start their own thing. Like everybody's playing different sides, and they're all kind of playing together because ultimately it pushes everything towards the same direction. Like you need mass turmoil, you need mass chaos, you need different global powers aligning with each other so that you can like draw up the lines and pick the sides, and then once the sides have been agreed upon, then we can all kind of get together and decide how we want to go about like making sure that we coax the most money out of our own defense contractors to keep up the farce that we're all playing this game meaningfully, and like we're serious about trying to kill each other. Like it's all I'm sure most of it happens in backroom deals that don't get talked about, and then we get to see the public face of it.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Ukraine, their men are being taken out.
Yeah, that is an unfortunate aspect of it. I don't know what
when you go to the Israel thing, like I'm not on either side. I don't.
Yeah.
Palestinians, fuck the Palestinians, fuck Israel. Like I don't care about either side.
Yeah, Israel is not a good guy in this by any means. The things
Israel's
they've
never
done
been
to
a good guy.
the things they've done to Palestinians for decades are fucking atrocious. But at the same time, the Palestinians aren't exactly
they're not
innocent.
pure as the wind-driven snow either.
Right, they're not exactly innocent either. They have done some pretty heinous shit themselves. So, and like, why are we involved at all? Just that has been my position on everything Middle East and related for 20 years is just let them all kill each other. Why do we care? Like, it's
because the twisted view of what, like, I guess mainly the biblical perception, like people believe that, like, okay, Israel, they've gotten confused Israel, the nation state, with like God's chosen people or whatever, and that's what they view the current Israel nation state as God's chosen people, and so now we have to defend it some way.
The current Israel nation state was the thing that was put together by the CIA and and the NWO of Europe following World War II.
But there are people, the fundamentalists who believe that it was God who did it, not them. Like they really do. They really believe this crap. I grew up in a household like that. It's like, you got to pray for Israel. Israel's this great nation, that God put there. And it's insanity.
Well, they believe that that whole lineage has been like theirs from the get-go, and that's why they believe that way, because they believe like, okay, God's chosen people take God's like chosen land, I guess. And
yes.
Oh yeah, it is
the dancing Israelis.
Let's see, there is. Yeah, here's the video of them.
But it never happened, remember?
Look at this.
Wow.
And then that's what they're using.
Those are supposed to be Palestinians?
Yeah.
Yeah, bullshit.
How are they
Dude, they can't even get water. Like, how are they getting...
They can't get water because the Israelis keep filling their wells with concrete.
Yeah.
Well, and they said that they're cutting off power to Gaza soon, so
there's absolutely no way.
These things, like,
Dude, I
take it back. The CIA is not funding these guys. That definitely came from somewhere in Louisiana.
Look, you think the CIA doesn't work in Louisiana? I mean, if anywhere, the CIA does work. I mean, it's an AK, clearly.
Is that an AK? I couldn't see it clear. I couldn't see it enough.
Yeah, he's got the banana mag and everything.
Well, going back to the church with Israel, what I can't understand is how the church can support Israel so much when Israel just like they are the gayest country on the face of the earth. They're like they have the biggest gay population, and they push it and push it and push it and push it. Yet you have the fundamentalists that completely support Israel all the time. It's like, how can you support this group that does literally everything against what your Bible teaches? Like,
well, I mean, it was like there was like some conflict in the streets, and people speculated that may have been some of the cause of it, because I guess the Islam, like the Islamists, like they don't like that. So I mean, there was some, like they were actually beating people on the street, and I guess that's part of what may have kicked off some of this kind of stuff. I don't know, but
because they were actually true to their religion instead of just like saying whatever, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like the whole problem is like even Israel's not true to their religion at all. They can't be.
No. They
can't be with supporting that crap.
Well, and it's the Jews who run like 90% of the porn industry and everything.
Yeah.
Like everything degenerate comes from there.
Yes.
Effectively. Yeah. But try telling the Christian fundamentalists that, and they're like, "Oh no, that's not true."
No, they would just be like, "Well, that's because they're not, they don't have Jesus yet. That's why."
They had him, and then they killed him. So maybe we shouldn't be trusting them with Jesus. Like, that's obviously didn't work out very well.
Yes. In fact, Pete was reading yesterday. Him and I can't remember the guy that was on the show yesterday. They were reading from the King James version, where it clearly states how everything happened. And the church just denies it all the time.
Well, I mean, that's why outside of the King James version, a lot of the other versions they do this mealy mouth, like
they whitewashed it.
Yeah.
Well, they had to, because if they didn't, then they wouldn't get funding.
And I think that's why, like they
wouldn't be able to use the banks to print their stuff.
I think that's why they attack like that version of the Bible the most, or whatever it seems like, for some weird reason. Obvious weird reason. Like, hey. Ugh. Yes. Oh. Can we have second juice?
So what's next? What else we got?
Let's change gears. We need to do something that's a little more fun and fucking stupid. We've had too much serious talk for a Monday. NYU professor suggests schools teach mating dynamics to young men amid a rise of AI sex bots.
I mean, maybe just let them be dudes. Like, that would be.
Yeah.
I mean, in the schools now, like if you hug a girl or whatever, sexual harassment. Like, I mean, that's why these dudes can't do anything, because like if they want to come up and hit on a chick, immediately it's like sexual harassment. Like, no matter, like if she doesn't think he's attractive, usually, like if she doesn't see the guy immediately,
being pissy.
Yeah. If she decides she doesn't like him for whatever reason.
Hang on, it's the hot crazy matrix for women. Have you seen that part? So everybody knows the hot crazy matrix, or if you don't, you should. But there's there's an extra part of the hot crazy matrix that comes in at the very end that I think gets missed from time to time. It's the male version. Hang on, I got it. Or not it's the version for females. There we go.
Let me ask you, like for the women watching, is there a male version of that? I mean, would it also be?
Oh yeah, it's a little simpler.
If a dude is super hot, okay.
Yeah, it's a little simpler, but we can do it real quick. It doesn't take very long at all. For women, this is your matrix. You got your cute axis, and you got your money axis. Okay, and if you have, there's only 3 sections. Women have a very large no-go zone. This is for dudes who are neither hot nor have a lot of money. You'll notice here, this is the husband section. Once you cross a line and have sufficient amounts of money, it is no longer relevant how hot you are. And then women have a fun zone here where a dude is broke but hot. that is the cute versus rich matrix for women's use.
That's awesome.
For everything else that women make complex, that seems to play out that they simplify that one thing.
That's funny.
But like going back to the AI thing, like, and it was something that Jim and I talked about on my show last week, which is my regular episode for today. Like talking about the men's rights movement stuff and like toxic masculinity and everything. Like, dudes are put in a position where it doesn't matter what you do. If you attempt to talk to a woman, then you're some sort of misogynist and you're being toxically masculine. But if you don't talk to women and just like, no, I'm not going to do this, then you're
gay, or
then you're
incel, bitter
incel, or you're using your toxic masculinity in some different way.
You can't win either way.
Yeah. So like, I don't know. Do we need to have a, like this thing talks about, have a course for mating dynamics to teach men how to approach women and make them feel safe? Like,
I mean,
yeah, but that sounds like something that white women would take over in like 2 seconds and change completely.
No, they would be running it. That would be the point.
I was gonna say, who do you think came up with this idea? I'm sure it wasn't whoever this unimpressive bald dude is. It was some woman came up with this, and they were like, "We've got to teach boys how to talk to women the right way, so that women don't feel like everybody hates them." I'm like, well, stop being psycho bitches, and everybody wouldn't hate you. It might be the easier solution.
It might be you. It might not be the men. It might be you. Might be the.
But they don't want. They're not. Yeah, they're not willing to admit that.
I did have a fun experience not too long ago. I can't remember what it was. Something was going wrong, and Stephanie was having problems, and I was trying to offer her like solutions to fix the problem, and she finally just stopped me. She finally just stopped me. She was like,
"I just want you to listen."
No, she goes, "It's me. I'm the problem. I know." I was like, okay, as long as like I knew that already, but I was trying to give you practical solutions that maybe you could feel like you were doing something to fix the problem while not addressing the actual problem. Like once she admitted it, I was like, okay, that's fair. Thank you for admitting that. And then, but yeah, the females who are able to admit that they are the problem are few and far between.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. Accountability. Them.
And when they can, you got to keep them. Those are the good ones.
No, wife her up.
Yep.
Got anything else for today? I feel like the
a couple things that we had.
I know. I thought there was some other stuff, but it feels like the Israel thing just kind of like hijacked the whole weekend. And
well, I mean, they hijack everything. Look at a couple years back.
Is that a 9/11 joke?
It might have been. Might have been.
Let's see. We did talk about that a little bit. The Chicago, the migrant crisis. There was the thing in Chicago.
Did we watch that video?
No, Chicago has been an interesting story to follow. So back earlier in the year, they were taking housing on like the south side of Chicago, and they were going to use it to house all these illegal immigrants that were getting bussed in. And I don't know how much y'all are familiar with the demographics of the south side of Chicago, but the people who live in that area were like, hold on, we don't even get housing. Like, you're taking the housing that is supposed to be for us to be able to pay to use
reparations
and giving it to them for free. Like, and these people don't share our values or anything. They're like, it was almost like full on revolt. Like,
it was a good wake up call. Well, they were in a meeting with an alderman, and just like they screamed the alderman down. They wouldn't let him speak, and then they took over the meeting for a good another 2 hours, and they were just like bitching about the fact that they're putting all these migrants in the park, and like they're taking over a school. They shut a school down to put people in.
There you go, SCL.
Yeah, it's watching these progressive cities kind of unravel as the migrant crisis is starting to hit them full in the face. It's like as long as the migrant crisis was only happening in Texas and Arizona and New Mexico
once in a while,
then they didn't care. But now that it's finally coming home to hit them, now they're like, oh man, like it's becoming very apparent that all of these like open border, like no rules, no restrictions, just let everybody in no matter what. Like, all of this policy is incredibly retarded.
Because democracy basically means government by the people, of the people, for the people. But the people are retarded.